Your photos and videos are already out there anyway. My stomach dropped. I knew it wasn't true. At least, I hoped it wasn't true. But how could I be sure? I don't recall letting him in. I don't even know how it happened, but somehow he just let himself in. I must have blacked out because the next thing I remember, he was standing in front of me, taking photos. I didn't understand at first. Later, I confronted him, but he acted as if it wasn't a big deal. Relax, nothing happened. You're not even in the photos. Then he gaslighted me. If anyone finds out, they'll just think you're a slut, like it's my problem. Even though I didn't do anything, I wanted to believe him that nothing happened, that no one would ever see anything. Months later, a guy I've been chatting with started asking for nudes. I said no, I wasn't interested. He said, your photos and videos are already out there anyway. My stomach dropped. I knew it wasn't true. At least, I hoped it wasn't true. But how could I be sure? I started Googling myself everywhere. My name, my age, my school, my workplace, anything that could be linked to me. I ran every possible combination, trying to figure out if there was anything about me that was floating around. I even went to the police. They searched too, but they said, like me, they found nothing. I wanted to believe them, but still, I couldn't be sure. And that's the worst part. It doesn't even matter what's real and what's not. Once somebody tells you your body is already out there, the fear never goes away.
In a 2023 study, this idea of intimate image abuse is one of the top 4 harms that was listed by victims. Can you share more with us how this comes about and how common is it?
So intimate image abuse, it is a form of abuse that involves non-consensual filming or sharing of intimate images, such as those taken during sex. But intimate image abuse can also include the threat or coercion, being forced to share such content.
And the victims in these cases, apart from feeling great sense of uncertainty, I imagine that they would also feel a great sense of betrayal.
Yes, so a lot of in the cases of intimate image abuse or IBSA, a lot of the cases, the victim survivor does know the perpetrator, and they could be intimate parties. So, for example, a former partner, for example, or even a close friend, best friend kind of thing. So that adds to the sense of betrayal.
So from what you describe, it seems to me that the victims experience a whole range of negative impacts on themselves. It could be emotional, it could even be mental and physical. I was just curious, we've heard of people going into depression, and sometimes they fear for their own safety and may inflict self-harm. Is this the kind of responses that you've seen among victims of intimate image abuse?
So our research doesn't really go into the impact just yet, but I'm hoping to expand the project so that it can go beyond university students. To answer your question, in terms of other contexts that researchers, for example, in North American context, they have seen these impacts that you talked about, depression, just feeling anxious all the time, looking for cameras around the room whenever they enter the bathroom or something like that. So these are all difficult, sensitive impacts, psychological, mental impacts that victim survivors continue to experience even after the original act of online harms has happened.
So there is no peace.
Yes.
The harm persists even after the content may have been removed.
Yes.
And actually, our own survey suggests that 40% of the victims feel this way. And that's a lot. Do you have some advice or some suggestion on how the community can come in to support such victims?
In Singapore, we know of at least 2 nonprofit organizations who currently support victim survivors of online sexual harm. So she, as you've mentioned, SG Her Empowerment is one of them. They do provide counseling and legal support for especially victim survivors of online sexual harms. The other nonprofit is Aware, of course. So they do have a sexual assault care center, and they do look at physical and non-physical cases. And in the past, I think 5 years, based on the press release, the online sexual harms are actually increasing among the cases that they see. In the previous episode, when you talked about having a support network and being able to train to be a good first responder to the victim survivor, I guess building awareness is also important. So for me, I can only speak from my own position, which is education, is that I do teach about issues of online harms, and then we have a discussion how to deal with it.
I guess what we're really seeing is that apart from introducing new laws, we need a more holistic approach.
Yes.
That will also involve equipping people who care about victims to provide a stronger sense of support towards them. And hopefully in this way, we can build a safer online world for Singaporeans.